Hi all, 1 second, let me just prepare our presentation. Today with me I have Craig Kirby, our pre-sales engineer, who's going to go across a couple of pieces with myself. But essentially what Dlink do, so we manufacture and we design networking products, so we can help with the infrastructure, the base or one of the building blocks to any network that's looking to utilize the cloud and to help with the connectivity of the devices out there. So essentially what we see is driving the need for cloud is pretty much the growth. So over, as Paul briefly touched on, over the last 24 months with coronavirus, lots of pupils and lots of people were just given devices and sent home, and then with the expectation of working essentially from home. And then now that we're coming back to the office or we're coming back to school, it's now the question of what do we do with it. So some of these older networks and some of these older sort of solutions and systems may not be able to keep up with it. So the unexpected growth side of it is just essentially what we have been experiencing over the last sort of 18 months with coronavirus. So as we were saying around efficiency, so what we want to do is trying to make processes simple, and essentially the simpler the process, the more time you'll save, and the more time you save essentially will save yourselves money. We want to improve the user experience for the administrators, but also the users of the technology. If it's simple, if it's easy to use, it just saves people frustration. We've all been there with something that's awkward, something that we don't understand how to use, and the amount of hair pulling that occurs is frustrating. We want to help out with the cost of it. So our old solution's costing you guys time, or costing time and resource, and it's just not in the financial sense. The cost of it could be the cost of disruption, the cost of having to maintain the product, or having to maintain the network. Here at Dlink, we have something called Nucleus that could help.
Yeah, so we have two platforms that we have at Dlink. One is Nucleus Cloud, one's Nucleus Connect. So what we're probably more interested in today is Nucleus Cloud. As we've been stating, that's the way forward for us. It's something we've been developing for the last few years now, and it originally started off as an MSP project for a telco in a different country, and it developed into a full cloud solution for both consumer and MSPs. What do you get with Nucleus Cloud? You're getting a full cloud managed platform where every device that's built for the cloud, purpose built, will be manageable and is able to change any kind of setting for any device. So we do access points, switches, and a little bit later we'll be showing you our brand new device, which will be our cloud gateway as well. It's a complete solution from top to bottom. There are obviously licensing costing fees if you go with the Nucleus Cloud for each device, but how we do things a little bit differently here at Dlink than some of our other vendors is that we say an access point is an access point and a switch is a switch. We don't change pricing on our licenses between those devices like some of our vendors do, other competition does. And what you get with it is a zero-touch deployment platform. So how it fits in, we have a Nucleus Cloud solution, which is really good for MSPs, and it's completely scalable. That means if you're looking at an environment where it's just one access point, say a coffee shop, and you have multiple coffee shops across the country, it's absolutely fine. It's fully scalable. Likewise, we can do large school environments where we have sort of 50, 60 access points in any one given scenario, and if we need to add more later on, it builds into the same profiles, and everything is profile driven. Nucleus Connect, slightly different software platform. The onus really is on do you have a hardware team or service? If you're willing to do that yourself, there's a way of having the same kind of platform that can push things out. But really, cloud solutions are a better fit for the education sector, hospitality, and there's a lot of extra work that we've put into those areas as well.
Where we can help with in education is where schools and where colleges and all these institutes essentially looking to add new technology, whether that's VR, whether that's remote learning, whether that you're looking to introduce media labs and all that sort of stuff. Dlink can help yourselves. We understand the challenges within this, and we can help by segregating and managing your staff and the students and creating individual guest networks. Also increasing the network's security on the network.
So here's a typical deployment that we would put in schools. So we'd have access points of various types. So for example, a 2x2 might be in a small office or a headmaster's office, something like that. And then for the schools and the classrooms, we'd have something like a 4x4 access point. And these would generally be a little bit stronger performing in terms of the signal that goes out, more spatial radios that are available to them. And then we can have various other access points in outdoor areas where we can have an IP68 or 69 rated access point, external or internal antennas on those devices, and they're all controlled with the same cloud platform management going back to the servers.
We can also work with other companies, so the establishments that use or utilize their sites to monetize, and whether you guys rent out sports facilities or your cafes, we can add analytical products like utilizing Purple Wi-Fi, Fidelia and Stampede to add, but we can add an additional layer to your Wi-Fi solution so you can help market and capture that information.
Yeah, so just going back on that, as we've worked with those partners, what we can do is large captive portals. So Purple Wi-Fi are very much into that big area where you can have hundreds of thousands of access points sending people to a captured page, and then you can issue whether it's a full integration of an intranet or it might just be something linking to like a Facebook page. But that kind of flexibility is there, and we can work at a project level between us, Levett and everybody else, so that we're able to actually build the analytics. So for example, you could be walking through a school, finding out where it's mostly used.
So something that Dlink has introduced in the last sort of 12 months to our portfolio is Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6 enabled products. Essentially, it's faster, better Wi-Fi. We can potentially scale up to almost 10 gigabits in speed. It's more efficient for your devices, and there's faster throughput for client devices. So things like laptops and iPads and mobile phones talk to the wireless access points or to the wireless technology quicker, making it a better user experience. And essentially, because it's more efficient, it extends your battery life for some of these devices there. With all the Dlink Wi-Fi 6 products as well, they're now shipping with WPA security, which is the latest generation of wireless security. And it's just that's aimed at keeping your data secure, but also your students safe. On screen here, we have a couple of examples of the newer Wi-Fi 6 access points that we have. We've got, as I say, we've got a couple of outdoor ones, but for the Wi-Fi 6, we've got the 4x4, so the high density access points, and then we've got the little 2x2 one there.
And then that leads us into our switching series. So our switches, again, are purpose-made for the cloud, still using zero-touch provisioning. And what we're able to do here is create links-based aggregation links. And this would typically be used for things like IP surveillance cameras, VoIP phones that go to the desks, and they're all VLAN capable. So what you actually get here is a way of segmenting your network and also having things like radius authentication, so that it works with things like Windows servers and other kind of authentication-based servers for keeping the children in the network using their own logins and across the board, whether it's an access point or whether they're using hardware-based authentication. And again, that would tie back to how we use our captive portals. We're able to do the same thing when we link them in with a username and authentication.
What's new for 2022? So we've introduced a couple of new outdoor access points, as Craig mentioned. They're IP rated, and IP rated just means they're weather resistant and they can be used outside. But we've also introduced a Wi-Fi 6 access point that can deliver true Wi-Fi 6 speeds. So this device has a 2.5 gigabit port on there, as well as a 1 gigabit port on there. So it's got two Ethernet ports, and essentially it's designed to give the maximum throughput or the maximum performance available.
And that leads us on to our new device, which is our DVG 2000. So this is a gateway device that's designed with all of the SD-WAN capable needs that we need looking into today's environment. So what does SD-WAN mean? It basically means software-defined wireless wide area network. What we're able to do is we're actually able to control how the traffic is shaped in a network, and inbound and outbound as well. And that's the really important part. How do we actually control what's coming in and out, and what do we need to be able to do that? So how it works is you would generally have something like an intrusion prevention, an IPS, where it actually scans deeper packet inspection that's coming in and out, and we're able to have that as a layer of application control as well. So what that means is there's signatures in everything that we use, whether it's Skype or whether we're using something like Teams. All of this will generally have a signature. If you keep those signatures up to date, what that means is you're able to control yes or no, is it allowed into the network, who's allowed to use it, and you can also do monitoring of this information as well. So we can actually see how people are using the network and whether we want to allow or deny that kind of access to it. So it works as a firewall, and it also works as a VPN. So where everybody's been working from home, staff have been sent home over the last couple of years. Now what we can do is have a VPN. So they're VPNing into the device using their own internet connections, brings down costs as well. And that means that you can have that kind of tunneling around. With this device, what we're able to do is redundancy on the WAN connections as well. So rather than having just one connection, you can have multiple ones, and then you can still define how that traffic is shaped and used. If one of those internet connections goes down, you've got another one to fall back on as well. And what that also means is we're able to start thinking about how we do groups. So as legacy devices, what we had in the past is we're able to do VLANs. That's kind of everywhere that we expect, was a minimum that we expect for our switches to do. But what we're able to do is take that a little bit further, so we can have our VLAN groups, and then we can shape how the people are across the network, whether hardware, whether there's software, and how that information is completely controlled, all going back to the cloud, so that we can change what we want to do, when we want to do it, at the touch of a button from anywhere in the world. So what do you get at the end of the day? Fast and easy setup. It's really what we've come in with right from the down design. So if anything goes wrong, say an access point goes wrong, we're able to get an access point out onto site. It will use the same profile as the one that's gone faulty, so you will be up within minutes of plugging in that access point. It's all connected back to the cloud. Scalability doesn't matter on the size of the installation. It's the same thing. You can have as many devices as you want, and you never need to worry about reaching a maximum. Everything is remotely controlled. It's a cost-effective deployment, which means it's going to bring costs down, including time that it takes at site for installations. And it doesn't matter how many sites there are. So if you have campuses across different areas, you can have the same kind of SSIDs that are broadcasting out. So if one person goes from one site to another site, everything will work in conjunction with each other.
What we can help with Dlink, within Dlink, is some of the projects that you guys are looking to do. So myself and Craig, we're happy to get involved, and we're happy to understand what you're looking to achieve, whether that's through wireless, whether that's through upgrading the infrastructure. And we can quite happily work with the team at Levett Consultancy to get you a recommendation or a rough plan of the next steps. We're quite happy to give you guys demos. We're quite happy to give yourselves sample products to trial and to test and to play within in your own environments. So basically, get us involved. We're quite happy to talk to yourselves about the issues that you guys have within your networks. And we're quite happy to work with yourselves to help formulate a plan on how to fix it and how to get the technologies that you need. If there's any questions, you can contact us on the below details, or you can call the team at Levett Consultancy, as they're more than happy to sort of share our contact details and work with us to help you.